Hi, I'm Cecilia, and I didn't feel like doing my homework, so I'm gonna make a video. And since May is Mental Health Month, I want to talk about my mental illnesses, starting with my eating disorder. Just to start off, I'll say that the eating disorder I struggled with was bulimia. For those of you who don't know, the cycle starts with patterns of restrictive eating, and then binging, and then purging, which is induced vomiting. That's what my eating disorder looked like for me. It doesn't look like that for everyone, however. Please don't make overgeneralizations and apply this to all Korean Americans or all Koreans, because it's just my personal experience. I grew up with adults around me who were very self-conscious about their weight and their appearance, and that kind of rubbed off on me. It started with people always just saying stuff about how I look. I gained weight throughout my high school years as my body went through a lot of hormonal changes, and before then I would always hear from people that I was very skinny, and they would say things like, "You're so skinny, oh, like your wrist is so thin," or "Your legs are so thin," things like that. Then I would pay attention to that and think that's a good thing, and when my body wasn't like that, I would get concerned or insecure. Those aren't really compliments because they're praising a specific body type, and that's really harmful because your body changes. And does that mean that people who don't have that aren't beautiful? Like, no, of course not. It didn't even have to be the traditionally viewed negative comments. Just saying anything about my body and praising a specific body type was really the harmful part. I found that a lot of Korean adults in my life were very blunt about physical features, and if I gained a little weight, they would just flat out say, "You gained weight." We went to Myrtle Beach with some family friends who are Korean. A Korean like ajumma whispered to my mom, like, she's like, "Cecilia gained weight." And then after that, I was like, I'm not going swimming anymore. Like, you know, like things like that. When people are constantly commenting about the way you look and the way that your body is changing, which is totally normal, it makes you very self-conscious about it and makes you pay attention to things that you didn't prior. So it's just started these unhealthy kind of mindsets for me personally. We just grow up in a culture that already makes girls very self-conscious about the way they look. And then just having people always commenting on your appearance definitely doesn't help that and encourages body dysmorphia. Is that what you call it? And so I grew up not really liking my body. I always felt like I wasn't skinny enough, and I wouldn't really wear tight clothes a lot. But my relationship with food was always good. I loved food and I ate everything I wanted. I never really felt guilt or shame after I ate. But then that changed. I became depressed the summer before my high school years, and eventually I started binge eating. I don't like to talk about my binge eating because I really didn't like myself when I binge ate. And that's part of it. Part of binge eating is that you're overcome with this huge feeling of guilt and shame. Basically, I just spent like a day in depression, and then late at night, I would still be up doing homework. Everyone's asleep. And so I would start eating like everything I could find. So I would cook myself all these things. So like while cooking a little bit of cream pasta, I always ate it. And so for a while I couldn't eat pasta because I was scared too. I'd make myself cream pasta, then microwave some chicken nuggets while I'm doing that. Oh my god, I see a rabbit. And then I would eat some chocolate while the chicken nuggets are microwaving. And then once the chicken nuggets are done, I'd like eat the chicken nugget, and I'd go in the pantry, get the frosting, eat the frosting. And like, it was just like I did not have control whatsoever. And I think it started from the fact that I felt so empty because I was so depressed. I needed to feel some sort of comfort, and I thought food could provide that for me. I think that's where it started. I started emotional eating for comfort and to feel better. And then it just spiraled into binge eating, and I couldn't stop myself. And yeah, all I remember from those nights, I would literally binge eat like every night, was that I would go to sleep feeling like such a loser and hating myself. I was like, why did you do all that? Like, and I felt so pathetic because I was like, you can't control your own eating. Like, everyone eats. Why do you have a problem with eating? Like, that's pathetic. And that's what I told myself, because I didn't realize it was a disorder and there was mentally something wrong with me. I binge ate starting 9th grade into 10th grade, and then the summer after my 10th grade year, I joined a ultimate frisbee team, a club team in the summer, and it was a lot more intense than any teams I had done before. I wanted to be the best on the team, and I told myself, the thing that's holding you back from being the best is your weight and all the fat on your body. I started unhealthily working out to lose weight. Also in 10th grade, I went on a vegetarian diet because I wanted to try it. But really, that's when my restrictive eating started. I remember just working out a ton that summer, trying to lose weight and being very unhealthy when I worked out. Really, I think I was obsessed with losing weight, and then I told myself that losing weight also meant that you could be the best, and like motivated myself in other ways too to lose weight. That's also when my orthorexia started, which is obsessive healthy eating. You are what you eat, that's what people say. And so I was like, you know, you're not going to be a sack of potatoes. Sack of potatoes aren't the best on the team. You are going to be the best. You're going to eat salads every day, even though you're hungry and you'd rather have a potato. Orthorexia, like, doesn't sound so bad, I think. I don't know. But it's just like anything in excess typically isn't good, and it's because it originates from a very unhealthy and like self-destructive mindset. For me particularly, being a Korean American, my orthorexia meant that I wasn't eating Korean food because doenjang, a lot of sodium. I found myself eating brown rice with grilled chicken and steamed vegetables or something. And that meant that I didn't want to eat the food my mom was making me. I was like, kimchi jjigae? I was like, I don't even know how to calculate the calories in that. Why are all the vegetables fermented? Like, why can't I have just regular vegetables? And that caused a lot of conflict with my mom because it turned into this thing where she thought I was rejecting my Korean culture. I was eating and preferring Western food over Korean food, and I was becoming more Americanized. Eating disorders can literally hurt your relationships, and it did definitely with my mom. Because of my orthorexia, I started controlling like everything she was making for me. And when she would make me food, I'd be like, if I felt like it wasn't balanced enough, if I felt like there was too much salt or something, I would get so angry with her. And I remember she used to pack me my lunch, and one day, instead of balsamic vinaigrette, she made this dressing out of like blended pineapples and like something, I don't know. It was this like tropical dressing. And I was like, oh my God, she used canned pineapples. There's so much sugar in that. And I remember my friend was right there, and I was like, I'm not eating this. And I like pushed the salad aside, and my friend looked at me like, what a bitch. Cause I was, but the thing was like, and she didn't know this, I don't blame her for that, but it was my orthorexia. So that was 10th grade. In 11th grade, junior year, prom's coming around. Whenever I would try and dress this for prom, I was like, oh my God, I don't have a good enough body for this dress. We live in like a pretty blunt household, and so my mom and my sister would just say like, you don't have the body for this dress. Like, it doesn't look good because it accentuates the fat you have here. And it just felt like they were kind of body shaming me, and I remember being very suicidal after that. I was sick one day, I stayed home, didn't go to school, and I tried to starve myself for a day. I was like, let's just starve yourself for a day so you can lose weight, so you can look good for prom. And I was like, if you can't starve yourself for one day, then you're a loser. I don't even know why I looked this up, but I think I looked up like binge eating video or something on YouTube. And I clicked on a video, I watched it, this girl started talking about her binge eating disorder. And that's when I realized, I was like, oh, I have binge eating disorder. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what? I didn't tell anyone about it either, because I didn't know. I just thought I was a loser. And I just felt like so bad about myself, like I really didn't like myself. I didn't like the way I physically looked, and I didn't feel confident in myself. I had such low self-esteem. Maybe a few months or so before prom, that's when I started purging. Basically, I was like, you're binging so much, and you can't be because prom is around the corner and you have to look good for prom. I don't want to look fat at prom. And so I was like, okay, you just binge ate all that. Well, now we're gonna have to throw it all up so we don't gain the weight. And so I would binge eat and then purge, and that's just kept going. Starting junior year, it went on to senior year and my first year of college. Purging continued. It actually went down like the summer before college, and then once I went into college, I was like rarely purging. But yeah, it's been a while since I've purged, so I started restrictive eating like 10th grade because I was so obsessed with losing weight and being the best on my frisbee team and being healthy all around. So then my junior year, I went on all these diets, like gluten-free. I had very strict eating habits. I had to have at least 3 colors on my plate. Can't have dairy, can't have gluten. I just saw bird poop. That was disgusting. I can only have water for drinks, no pasta because you binge eat that, no processed sugar. Yeah, and so I like literally had like the tiniest lunch, and I don't want to think about those days because it was so bad. And when I would be hungry, I thought that was good. I was like, oh my God, you're hungry. Yes, now let's keep it that way. Once quarantine hit, it was really hard because suddenly I was around food 24/7 since I had to stay home. I ate so much during quarantine, like it's kind of crazy. Because I was so restrictive with my eating, it was like, this is like the small moment I get to eat food, like this meal. And so I had to pack everything I want to eat into this one meal because I know like I'm not allowed to snack, I'm not allowed to do this, I'm not allowed to do that. And so this moment when I can eat, I have to really eat like everything I can find was kind of my mindset. And that's like the problem with restrictive eating, is that then you become desperate when you're able to eat, and then it's less likely that you'll be healthy with your choices. The reason why I would binge eat at night was because at school I would like forget to eat because I was like doing homework like during lunch and stuff because I always procrastinated. I wouldn't eat like a lot. After school I had all these things, and then when I get home around like 6, 7, 8, I like quickly eat dinner and then like work on homework. And so I never ate enough, and because I deprived myself of food for so long, at night, like 10, 11, 12, that's when I would binge eat because I was ravenous by then. And it's just like, get all this food inside me, because my body, this is what I learned from a nutritionist that really helped me with my eating disorder. What she said to me was, that's like primal mode or something like that. Basically, it's a survival mode thing. Yeah, so during quarantine, it was really hard. I started working out to lose weight because I was eating so much. I was purging a lot, and there were all these trigger foods around me. Oreos was a big thing for me, and chips. Ugh. Now I can eat them. It's wonderful. But yeah, that was really hard because it felt like a constant battle with my pantry, and I didn't get myself. My doctor would tell me, you know, you should go to this eating disorder clinic, and I was like, no way, that sounds crazy. And then I went to college and I met with a therapist for my depression. I told her how I was scared of the pasta in the dining hall, and she was like, I think you should meet with the dietitian. And so I was like, okay, I want to get better, so sure. And so I met with her, and she really helped me with my eating. In college, what was really hard was being in the dining hall, like the buffet style, traditional style dining halls, because it's all you can eat. Oh my God, I would restrict so much. I was like obsessed with being productive at one point. And so what I would say is these kinds of foods will slow down your productivity, so you can't eat them until this time. And so in the morning, I would have oatmeal with fruits, even though I hate oatmeal, like I hate oatmeal. And then for lunch, you can only have sushi or a salad, and no gluten because gluten will slow you down. And you can't have dessert, you can't have juice, you can't have blah, 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 blah. I would never listen to what my body wanted. I would literally plan what I was going to eat the night before, so I wouldn't have to stress about it. But what really helped me was being introduced to intuitive eating. My first introduction to it was actually a Victoria Garrick video, and it was her My Eating Disorder Story, and that was super helpful for me. She recommended a book that I got, and she talked about intuitive eating and explained it, and I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. And then the dietitian like helped me practice intuitive eating, and that was really extremely helpful, to the point where now I feel like I've mostly recovered. There are still times where I emotionally eat, sometimes I overeat, but definitely not binging, definitely not purging, and food is not on my mind so much anymore. And yeah, I just eat what I want and I feel good about it. And so yeah. There's something huge I have to emphasize, and it's about my recovery. So for me, my eating disorder really stemmed from my depression, and so once my depression got a lot better, my eating disorder improved drastically, and also practicing intuitive eating also really helped, as I said. Because I was going to therapy for my depression and taking antidepressants for my depression, that really improved my eating disorder as well. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that about my recovery. I just hope that this video might be able to help someone the way that past videos I've watched have helped me. And just know that you're not alone. As cliche as it sounds, it's helpful just to know that you're not the only one fighting this battle. That's just more evidence that you can heal from it, because so many people have. Eating disorders are so stigmatized, but they're legitimately debilitating diseases. I don't think a lot of people would expect to find out that I have an eating disorder and I'm recovering from one. It can really affect anyone. My eyebrows are like non-existent right now, but it's okay. Sorry, I'm just distracted by my dog right now. If you want to say hi to her. If you feel like you're experiencing anything similar to what I described, you feel like you might have an eating disorder or are just struggling with your eating or body image, I encourage you to reach out for help. I'll link some resources for you to do so, and I hope that this video can empower you to reach out for help and take the steps necessary for recovery. I think that's it. I don't know what else to say or how to really end this thing. I'm not trying to just share my struggles to say, hey, look at me, I've struggled. I really just hope that it's helpful in some way.